You could be like, oh no, don't give me that free healthcare. I don't want to go to my general practitioner for free for a checkup to make sure I have the most adequate preventative care of all time. How dare you, you check-on bastard. And I'm gonna be like, hell yeah, get that fucking free healthcare, you little bitch. You're gonna fucking love it, okay? Oh, that's right, you got diabetes. Turns out you now have insulin shots. My fucking dick, bitch. Yeah, eat it. Anyway, now we're going to talk about Trump's Gaza plans already. Okay? I'm going to give you the two different methods that they have in mind for what must be done in Gaza. Both are bad. One is far worse than the other. And then I will show you what Israel's opinion is on all of it, which is, of course, everything is bad unless it's like full-blown submission to the Israeli state.
Conflict in the Middle East. President Trump saying he thinks he has a deal to end the war in Gaza and bring the hostages home, but he's not sharing many details. And ABC's Alex Brachet is now following this from Washington, D.C. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, Gio. Yeah, President Trump isn't sharing many details, but there is a big meeting between him and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu scheduled early next week as world pressure for a peace deal grows. This morning, President Trump saying a peace deal between Israel and Hamas is imminent.
I think it's a deal that will get the hostages back. It's going to be a deal that will end the war. It's going to be a deal it's going to be peace. I think we have a deal.
The president said he will make the announcement soon, but declined to give details. International pressure for peace is at a crescendo. In New York City Friday, thousands gathered protesting the Gaza crisis outside the UN Assembly, and inside, another protest unfolded as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu delivered remarks, a mass walkout as he took the podium.
Please, order in the hall.
The Prime Minister defiant.
The final remnants of Hamas are holed up in Gaza City. They vow to repeat the atrocities of October 7th again and again and again, no matter how diminished their forces. That is why Israel must finish the job.
Netanyahu blasting countries that now recognize a Palestine.
Okay, so Trump claims Gaza peace deal is imminent. I think it is going to be a similar structure to the end of the Srebrenica. I'm up the way to say it, where they want like a United Nations controlled mission with Tony Blair at the top. Now, of course, Tony Blair himself is also an asset for Israel and America as well. And yet, even then, Benjamin Netanyahu is still saying absolutely not. Yes, here it is. The new American plan is to turn Tony Blair into the governor of Gaza with it protected by an international force. He would, over time, transfer it to the Palestinian Authority. Then peace talks between Israel and the PA would begin over a final status agreement. It is hard to have any hope at all. But if only we could start talking again, who knows? This is the goal that this is the least bad option. Okay? The reason why I'm saying this is the least bad option is because all the other options are even worse than this. And there are competing plans here. You have like a Saudi protectorate plan as well. And then you have the Israeli plan, which is complete control, seizing all of the territory and permanent of the Palestinian population. Okay? Now, the reason why the Tony Blair plan is also complete bullshit is because Tony Blair has literally worked with the Boston Consulting Group and the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, as you know, the Gaza Holocaust Fund. It's not like Tony Blair has actually the best interests of the Palestinians in mind. He would still be a completely captive. He would be completely servile to Israel and America's interests in the region. Okay? And yet even that is considered to be a bridge too far for the Israeli government at this moment because they are so used to getting every single thing that they want. They're so used to getting every single thing that they want that it does not even matter, that they just want full, they don't want anything else, nothing short of full. What is this? Have you seen this article? It was released by the Times of Israel right before they then deleted off the face of the planet. Moving forward on Palestine, May 18, 2023, in order to right a wrong, in order to make peace and move forward, Palestine must be obliterated. Is an affront to society, morality, humanity. Yeah, what do you mean? This is just like the average Zionist position. Yeah, I know this is far before October 7, but like, Guys, Ben Shapiro literally wrote this exact same article in America on Town Hall in 2012. The article title is "Transfer is Not a Dirty Word." I've read this exact same article in a million different formations from Israelis, Americans, right-wing national security think tank guys. This has been the project. Yeah. It's psychopathic. It's inhumane. It's monstrous. It's exactly what's going on right now. This is not like, this is what it is. This is what it's always been. Anyway, new immediate release of all captives and the end of the war. New details on Trump's 21-point plan. This is from DropSite. Reports in the past day outline key points of a U.S. plan to end the genocidal war in Gaza. Under the proposal, all captives would be freed within 48 hours in exchange for Israel releasing thousands of Palestinian captives, including 100 to 200 serving life terms. The IDF would gradually withdraw with the Palestinian Authority eventually involved in governing Gaza. Hamas would be granted amnesty if it agreed to disarm and leave the Strip. Trump has claimed Hamas is aware of the details, but the group has not said it received any information on a new proposal. Okay? And
let's bring in Yossi Meckelberg.
This is the Tony Blair program. I'm going to get to it in a second. Hold on. There's a couple competing ones, okay? There's like 3 competing major plans. The one unifying aspect of all 3 of these competing major plans, whether it be the Saudi-French agreement, whether it be the American Tony Blair-backed agreement, or whether it be Israel's own ambitions for the Gaza Strip, none of which factor in the sovereignty of the Palestinians or the opinions of the Palestinians or the ambition of the Palestinians. None of it factors in Palestinian interests even a little bit. The only thing it seeks to address, at least for the interim, is the Palestinian need for an end to the bloodshed, for an end to the... Okay, that's it. And outside of that, biliyorum ben şu anda sipariş verdim. Birazdan gelecek. So, main points reported by Al Arabiya. Immediate end to the war. Release of all Israeli captives. Release of thousands of Palestinian captives, including up to 200 lifers. Gradual withdrawal of the IDF from Gaza according to a set timetable. Unlimited humanitarian aid entry through the UN and international aid groups. Closure of the Gaza Humanitarian Fund, currently in operation in the Strip. Disarmament of Hamas through Arab International Force with a limited mandate. Amnesty for Hamas members if they hand over and leave Gaza. Gaza to be run temporarily by an Arab International Force after the war. Establishment of a Palestinian committee under PA supervision to oversee interim administration. Palestinian Authority to take over Gaza's management after a limited period. U.S. commitment not to allow Israel to annex land in the West Bank. Gaza reconstruction through an Arab International in 5 years. Okay? Of course, full disarmament is a non-starter for the Palestinian population for understandable reasons. There's an ongoing... And Israel has no ambitions to even dial it back a little bit. So it is perfectly understandable why the Palestinian population, not just Hamas, by the way, because they say Hamas, but it's like that's just a catch-all statement here. But the entirety of the Palestinian population, understandably, is not going to want to disarm while they are simultaneously being destroyed. CNN's reporting added, all captives will be freed within 48 hours. Israel commit not to strike Qatar again. Hamas rule would be replaced with an international administration, later transitioning to a Palestinian committee. The plan does not include recognition of a Palestinian state, and timelines remain vague. IDF withdrawal would be gradual, but no forced expulsion of residents of Gaza would be permitted. Hamas has not been formally presented with the proposal, though Trump claimed on Truth Social that the resistance movement is well aware of its details. Qatar is expected to deliver the plan to negotiators in Doha. Trump also insisted the sides are very close to a deal, while Netanyahu told the United Nations Israel will fight on until Hamas is destroyed. So, like I said, there is the Palestinian National Committee adjacent deal that starts with Tony Blair and an international mission protecting the Gaza Strip from Israel, but also simultaneously apprehending those who they say are members of the resistance, of course, as criminals. And then eventually the Palestinian Authority, which is already a part of the Israeli security apparatus and not exactly a beloved institution in the eyes of every single Palestinian, obviously not as unpopular as Israel, but basically the second most unpopular entity in the region, according to Palestinian polls, will govern Gaza as well. Now, Israel does not want any of that. Israel wants to implement the insane expulsion protocol that they have set forward in doing. Building and designing concentration camps in Rafah, pushing every single person into said concentration camps and then forcibly expelling them from Palestinian land and Palestinian territory with no way of allowing them to return ever again. That's what Israel wants. And it is seemingly a non-starter for them. Any other thing that people present as an alternative, no matter how good it is for the future of Israel, for the future of the Zionist project, if it took like a liberal Zionist framework, for example, which would allow Zionism to continue, Israel says, no, we're going to do it our way. We are once again arriving at yet another impasse where Hamas will be the reasonable party, as they have been so from the jump, and will abide by these ridiculous demands, no matter how ridiculous they may seem, only for Israel to, at the very last second, throw a wrench in the entire process and blow it up to continue as. At that point, the appetite for the administration to continue its unlimited loyalty to Israel will once again cause them to potentially recalculate this allegiance. This is the reason why our support for the Palestinian plight matters. This is the reason why our consistent advocacy and our protests matters. Do you understand? Trump said 4 days of intensive talks have already been held and will continue as long as necessary. I am pleased to report that we are having very inspired and productive discussions with the Middle Eastern community concerning Gaza. Intense negotiations have been going on for 4 days and will continue for as long as necessary in order to get a successfully completed agreement. All the countries with the region are involved. Hamas is very much aware of these discussions, and Israel has been informed at all levels, including Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. There is more goodwill and enthusiasm for getting a deal done after so many decades than I have ever seen before. Everyone is excited to put this period of death and darkness behind them. It is an honor to be a part of this negotiation. We must get the hostages back and get a permanent and long-standing peace. Will this informed diplomatic source to Al Jazeera? Hamas has not received any new proposal regarding the resumption of negotiations. Yes, and Dropsite is also an informed source as well. They have direct contacts with Hamas. So that's why I was looking at Dropsite. So when Dropsite says Hamas is yet to be informed about any decision or any negotiation whatsoever, I believe them. Now, understand that all of these deals are horrible. And yet, all of the supposedly peaceful deals that Israel is saying no to are still horrible. But even then, it's not enough. It is obvious that Israel just wants one thing and one thing only, which is the complete and permanent of the entire Palestinian population. So much so that they refuse even this plan. This is the British Prime Minister, former British Prime Minister Tony Blair, and the role that he is going to be playing in the Trump peace plan.
He's a senior consulting fellow at the Chatham House think tank in London. Welcome to DW, Yossi. Now, Trump seems very confident.
Sorry, it's loud.
And he has a deal on Gaza. Do you think that confidence is warranted or maybe a little premature?
Good evening. Thank you for having me. I think we are all to be cautious. We've seen quite a few false dawns. So let's hope that he is right. I think we see something happening over the last few days. The meeting with leading Arab and Muslim countries made some difference. The way that he speak about no annexation of the West Bank, more committed to a ceasefire. But on the other hand, we also heard this speech in the UN, in the General Assembly, which was very different. Today we had Netanyahu's speech, which was a mix between, on the one hand, very defensive, but also very militant. And I think we should wait for the meeting on Monday. I think this will be an all-crucial meeting. The way that they come out, and whenever is the press conference, whatever come out of this meeting might define the next weeks, months, and probably the end of the war.
Talk to us about the idea of a temporary governing body for a post-war Gaza, which could allegedly be led by former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair.
Yeah, I think, politics always brings with it quite a few surprises. But we know that former Prime Minister Tony Blair was working from the beginning of the war on all sorts of plans from the humanitarian side, were bringing the war to an end. And I think now he put himself in the forefront also to be active in post-war Gaza. We'll need to see what happens there, but we know that there are close relations between Tony Blair and President Trump. He has almost an open door to speak with President Trump. And while, we begin with a horrific plan by Trump about entail the expulsion, forced displacement of probably 2 million Gazans, I think with the help of Tony Blair, this kind of idea has been subsided. So I think he's looking to play a role. I think there will be some people, especially in the Gulf, who will support someone with his experience, someone with his gravitas. On the other hand, I have already some reservation among Palestinian leaders for this idea.
You talk about his experience, his gravitas, but also he has a rather checkered political past, especially in the region when we talk about the war in Iraq. Do you think Blair is the right person for the job?
I personally, I think it depends how he's going to handle it. Definitely the war in Iraq. Also, his 7-8 years, the special envoy quartet didn't succeed to make any progress on the peace between Israelis and Palestinians. But
Tony Blair, much like every other British leader, is a non-entity and simply a servant of American interests. So all of the crimes in Iraq that you could point the finger of blame at the Bush administration, you can also lay squarely on Tony Blair's feet as well. But of course, because a million murdered Iraqis are just, collateralized in the eyes of the fucking Western media, you can simply present that as a checkered past. Putting Tony Blair in charge of these affairs is like putting George W. Bush in charge of these affairs. You said this is GHF all over again? Well, interestingly enough, Tony Blair was also directly involved in the GHF. So Tony Blair was involved in the GHF. He was a part of the Boston Consulting Group plans. Fuck. Too much spice bar? No, it went down the wrong hole. Originally, it went down the wrong hole when I was eating the chicken.
Having said that, it depends how he takes it and what's the response from the Palestinians, the Israelis in the region. If they give him enough power to do and use his experience, it might be a good idea. Personally, I think it's rather be someone from the region for a limited time and then hand it over to a new Palestinian leadership. Always the worry is what is an interim becomes permanent and and from one European former leader to another instead of actually allowing the Palestinians to lead their own lives.
Mm-hmm. We know not a lot about this plan right now. You say it all hinges on what happens on Monday, but just broadly speaking, do you consider this, what we know about this plan, a viable future for Gaza, and would it be accepted domestically, regionally, and globally?
I think we see the kind of the direction points, the one that we know, the most important thing, and for a very long time, is ending the war. We see what's happening as we speak in Gaza, bringing the hostages back. I think this is important to allow more humanitarian aid and safely to enter into Gaza, and then gradually moving into ensuring there are peacekeeping forces there that ensure the long-term ceasefire and beyond that, new governance in Gaza. But the long term should be how we move from this situation into a two-state solution, ensuring that Gaza and the West Bank are part of the same political system. What we heard from Netanyahu in the UN today is that he completely excluded the possibility of a two-state solution. I think that's where the position of President Trump is all important.
Yossi Mekelberg, Senior Consulting Fellow at Chatham House. Thank you so much for all your insights today. Great speaking to you.
Thank you.
I'd like to welcome Sarah Yerkes, now a Senior Fellow with the Middle East Program at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. Welcome to DW. President Donald Trump has expressed confidence, as we just heard, that a Gaza deal is close. Where do you think things stand with the deal, given that, we've heard this before?
Absolutely. This is not the first time we've heard Donald Trump say that a deal is close and the deal has never materialized. The only person that really matters here is Benjamin Netanyahu. And as we just heard, what he said this morning in New York is that he needs to eradicate Hamas, that he will not oversee a Palestinian state. He doesn't want that to happen until Hamas is gone. That is not the same language as saying that a deal is close.
Yeah, you were mentioning these comments by Benjamin Netanyahu saying he wanted to eradicate Hamas. When it comes, though, specifically to Donald Trump's claims of a deal being close, we haven't heard from Israel. We haven't heard from Hamas either. They haven't responded to this. What's your take on that?
We have heard from Israel. They said, fuck no. They said, fuck no.
Yeah, I think, what we need to take from that is that, first of all, you do see some important progress. The fact that the various Arab leaders were able to meet, that they were able to meet with Trump, that Trump is putting the full weight of the United States behind this deal, those are all positive signs. But if the two parties involved in this conflict, Hamas and Israel, are not at the table, if they're not the ones who are actually signing off on this deal, they're not there, I think we need to be very, very skeptical that there's any way that we're going to get to a deal anytime soon.
Let's talk a little bit about some possible details. There have been press reports of a 21-point plan that includes a ceasefire, release of hostages, a phased Israeli withdrawal, and a new governing authority in Gaza that excludes Hamas. In your opinion, how realistic is a framework like that?
And I think on the one hand, this is a very comprehensive framework, which is a good thing. There's a lot of things that need to be addressed in order for this deal to be lasting. But on the other hand, as we've seen in the past with some various deals in the history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, when you do this sort of phased approach, there's a lot of opportunities for things to fall apart. And I think, what we need to see is that the Arab states really need to support this. They're going to be crucial in implementing all of these steps. But when you look at the Israeli side, for Benjamin Netanyahu, it's in every interest of his not to actually end this war. For his legitimacy at home, he needs to keep this war going. And so when you offer him this sort of plan where there are many outs where he can say Hamas violated the deal here, they violated the deal here, it gives him the ability to say the deal is done, we're moving on. And I think that's where this could be very dangerous.
Speaking of Arab states, some of them are threatening to pull out of a deal normalising ties with Israel. That's called the Abraham Accords. This is something that Trump's first administration brokered. How much pressure is the potential collapse of such a key foreign policy achievement putting on Donald Trump?
Bro.
I think for Donald Trump, the Abraham...
Bro, if Qatar goes back to the negotiation table with Israel after Israel bombed its capital, there is no salvaging the Gulf, man. There is no saving the Gulf. You cannot save a nation state that does not want to save itself. I suspect they will, by the way. I suspect they'll fucking play ball. But it is like the concessions, if such a thing were to take place, the concessions have to be like something short of there's like dismantling Zionism. You know what I mean? Like maybe one step removed from like making it illegal to be Zionist. Of course, that's never going to happen. But I'm only saying this to highlight the severity. Highlight the severity of the wrong that was committed. Like they literally are hosting the Hamas Politburo at the directive of the American government right next to American military bases. And then Israel uses that as a reason to blow up their capital and like kill a bunch of fucking Qatar residents. It's the most unacceptable shit I've ever seen. Like, I don't know. It's not even respect. It's just like you have no self-preservation skills. In that situation, I'd be making a call to China literally. I wouldn't even wait to figure out if it was Israel. Wouldn't wait to figure out if like the Patriots missile systems were turned off or whatever. I'd just be making a call to China like moments after. Because there's only one fucking entity in the region that is arrogant enough to take action like that. I wouldn't even wait for the dust to settle. I'd be like calling up China to be like, listen, big dog, we were so wrong. We were so fucking wrong. I'd be calling up Saudi Arabia to be like, listen, let's let bygones be bygones, okay? I know you wanted to fucking cut me out. I know you wanted to destroy me, but, you know, Doha today, Riyadh next. You know what I mean? We gotta start utilizing OPEC a little bit. What are we doing?
Accords were one of the most important things, one of the most important achievements he had during his first term. And he really came into office wanting to expand those deals to try to make other normalization deals with other Arab countries. That obviously has not happened in the wake of October 7th. And so, the fact that countries that have had made the deals might be pulling out is very bad for Donald Trump. It's very much in his interest to not only keep the existing deals there, but also expand them. And so that's one of the things that's motivating him. He also is very motivated by this idea that he wants a Nobel Peace Prize. He wants to be seen as a peace.
You really just spew bullshit like, what is this? Bro, are you a fucking Israel dick sucker too? God damn. Pick your poison, dude. Pick a struggle. This motherfucker's in here like, do you have one good opinion other than enjoying the content of Keizo and Kai Cenat and numerous other content creators who I'm friendly with? Like, is there one fucking is there one good political opinion you have accidentally arrived at? Many Americans at least have like found themselves on the right side with this Israel shit. And this guy's like, nah, brother. I can't wait to go visit the Bible land so that an Orthodox child can spit on my face. That's right.
Peacemaker. And I think that's sort of a joke in some senses. But on the other hand, this is what's driving him. One of the things that's really pushing him to put the full weight of the U.S. behind this sort of deal.
Right. There's talk of an international transitional authority for Gaza, possibly led by the former British Prime Minister Tony Blair. What kind of structure do you think could actually gain legitimacy among Palestinians and be accepted as well by some of the key regional players you were talking about?
Yeah, I think the inclusion of Tony Blair is interesting. I mean, he's played an important role in the past with the quartet. He has a somewhat positive track record at being a legitimate player in this realm. But on the other hand, for the Palestinians, they really need Palestinian leadership in order to make a functioning Palestinian state move forward. And I think that's not going to come from Tony Blair. You need someone from the inside. And you also, frankly, you need someone that's not Mahmoud Abbas to also be the one who's leading this. It's time for new Palestinian leadership to be the ones that are taking over and really making sure that this moves forward. And I do think Blair has the legitimacy and the rubber stamp of the Arab state.
Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. Yeah, they're going to love Tony Blair. The same people that hate Mahmoud Abbas because he's a servant of the Israeli state are going to be like, oh my God, love Tony Blair. Love me some fucking Tony Blair, dude.
Palestinian state.
Your disgraceful decision will encourage terrorism against Jews and against innocent people everywhere.
Yeah, you don't understand. Palestinians love the way British people took control over British mandated Palestine. Remember, they love that. And also, number two, they respect Tony Blair's prowess as a person also responsible for millions of dead people in the region, specifically in Iraq. When they see that, they're like, well, that's a good guy. That's a guy who I think has my best interest in mind.
It will be a mark of shame on all of you.
His speech broadcasted on loudspeakers throughout Gaza Friday,
Peace between Israel and Syria.
where the Hamas-run health ministry reports that Israeli forces killed 47 Palestinians and wounded 142 in the last 24 hours. Supplies there dire. Now, organizers of an international aid flotilla say they will defy an Israeli naval embargo to get aid into the region. Now, Hamas responded to Netanyahu's speech, saying it's filled with, quote, lies and blatant contradictions. President Trump now expected to host the prime minister at the White House on Monday.
Okay, Alex Brochet for us. We appreciate it. Thank you.
New this morning, the U.S.
U.S. revokes Colombian president's visa after Gaza protest speech, which, by the way, is unprecedented. Like, you've had former leaders, like you've had Chavez call George W. Bush like Hitler, Adolf Hitler incarnate, and America hasn't revoked people's like visa status. Like, it is crazy.
is revoking the
because it quite literally contradicts the entire reason for the United Nations to exist. So basically, it calls into question if the UN headquarters can be in New York at all.
Colombian president's visa after his visit to the United Nations. President Gustavo.
Yeah. He called George W. Bush the devil at the United Nations. He had also called him Hitler as well. But at the United Nations, he just straight up on his speech called George W. Bush the devil.
En este mismo lugar huele a azufre todavía.
He said it still smells of sulfur right where I'm standing because of his impact.
Esta mesa donde ayer, señoras, señores, desde esta misma tribuna, el señor presidente de los Estados Unidos, a quien yo llamo el diablo, vino aquí hablando como dueño del mundo. ¿Qué modelo de democracia es ese el que se impone a punta de marines, de invasiones, de agresiones y de bombas? A donde quiera que él mira ve extremistas. Yo estoy seguro que te ve a ti, hermano, con ese color y cree que eres un extremista.
Called him a
Con
white
este color,
supremacist devil.
Evo Morales, que vino ayer, el digno presidente de la Bolivia, es un extremista. No, no es que somos extremistas. Lo que pasa es que el mundo está despertando y por todos lados insurgimos los pueblos. El señor presidente vino a hablarle, así lo dijo, hoy quiero hablarles directamente a las poblaciones del Oriente Medio. Mi país desea la paz. Esto es cierto. Si nosotros nos vamos por las calles del Bronx, si nosotros nos vamos por las calles de Nueva York, de Washington, de San Diego, de California, de cualquier ciudad, de San Antonio,
Look
de
who
San
it is.
Francisco, de San
Look
Antonio.
who it is. Look who it is dick riding, bro. Into fucking oblivion.
De San Francisco, y le preguntamos a la gente en las calles, a los ciudadanos estadounidenses, este país quiere la paz. La diferencia está en que el gobierno de este país, de Estados Unidos, no quiere la paz. Quiere imponernos su modelo de explotación y de saqueo y su hegemonía a punta de guerras. Quiere la paz. ¿Y qué está pasando en Irak? ¿Y qué ha pasado en el Líbano y en Palestina? ¿Y qué ha pasado en 100 años, pues?
Wait, why did he bring up Palestine? This is 2 decades prior to October 7. That's weird. That's so strange to me. Why would he bring up Palestine? That wasn't even a thing, right? That's not just like a year before October 7. That's 2 decades. I'm just confused because I thought, no, like literally 2006. That's almost 2 decades. Huh. I'm so confused as to how this could have happened.
En América Latina y en el mundo, y ahora las amenazas contra Venezuela, nuevas amenazas contra Venezuela, nuevas amenazas contra Irán. ¿Qué le dirían esos pueblos a él? Si esos pueblos, ¿qué le dirían? Yo se los voy a recoger porque conozco la mayor parte del alma de esos pueblos, los pueblos del sur, los pueblos dirían, Imperio Yankee, go home. Ese sería el grito que brotaría por todas partes si los pueblos del mundo pudieran hablarle a una sola voz al imperio de los Estados Unidos.
Why you mock October 7th tragedy? Something that I'm beginning to notice is that like a lot of the people that come in here are just like too stupid to understand how language works. It's pretty funny that he still thinks like this is a workable counter here, but that's not even what I'm doing. I'm mocking the people that think that October 7th is when this conflict began. If you had any working brain cells and weren't simply like a Unit 8200 bot, or basically like a human that works in the same way that like an AI chatbot does, you would know that I'm making a joke about how history did not begin on October 7th, especially as it pertains to the oppression that Palestinians were facing. Also, another person in the chat asked me, did Chavez have aura? What more do you need to see? Yes, he did.
Ayer estuvo el diablo aquí.
He had mad aura. He had crazy aura. Undeniable.
Pedro took to New York streets in a pro-Palestinian demonstration and urged the U.S. military to disobey Trump. Take a look.
Desobedezcan la orden de Trump. Obedezcan la orden de la humanidad.
Disobey the Trump's order. Obey the order of humanity.
All right, for more on this, let's bring in CNN contributor Stefano Pozzebon in Bogota. Stefano, where is the Colombian president right now?
Well, Danny, Gustavo Petro is here in Bogota. He arrived around 4 a.m. local time, which is 5 a.m. where you are in the East Coast, and had to come up with his reaction to this latest order from the U.S. administration. In the last few hours, he has tweeted several times accusing the United States of violating international law. He has went on calling Donald Trump Donald Duck, and has also called for...
Bro is literally praising Chavez. I would love to hear you expand on your criticisms of the Venezuelan governance under the directive of Chavez. I feel like you are the man who is going to enlighten everybody here. Gringos, you're lucky your authoritarian wannabe dictator is an idiot like Donald Trump and not Hugo Chavez, someone who was objectively correct about many things and had the charisma to lead millions within and out of the country. I mean, I would like for it not to be Donald Trump, but I wouldn't mind a charismatic figure that, you know, forcibly nationalizes the entirety of the extraction industries, implements a lot of modest social democratic changes, improves literacy in this fucking country, pulls millions out of abject poverty, builds hospitals in rural areas. These are the types of things that I would like for any American leadership to do. Chavez's biggest L, in my assessment, was that he allowed for private enterprise to continue fucking up the bag instead of immediately diversifying the Venezuelan economy by force. He allowed a bunch of these like massive business leaders to actively thwart his initiatives every step of the fucking way, including facilitating a coup set up by the United States of America. You ask me if my big business owners, if my chamber of commerce plots a fucking coup at the directive of the United States of America, and only moments after this illegal coup is implemented, does the American government come out and recognize the new government as the official government of Venezuela, okay? I'm not letting any of those motherfuckers go along. Like, I'm not letting them fucking breathe the free man's air. I'm seizing their assets. The fuck do you mean? I'm like, oh shit, well, sorry. Oh, you guys own all the grocery store franchises? Fuck, man. That's so sweet because it's really important for every Venezuelan to get cheap groceries. So it's so wonderful that they are now a part of the federal government. I'm asset stripping like a motherfucker. Expropriation. His biggest weaknesses, his biggest problems were, yes, mismanagement to a certain degree, but more consequentially, his inability to diversify Venezuela's output. It's agribusiness. Like, he did not Juan Guaido Twitch. Chavez expropriated property on live TV, bro. What do you mean? I know. I'm saying there were definitely a lot of sectors that he could have done that to, and he did not do that. He also bad succession planning. That's definitely another problem. Maduro, not so great. I can't believe the real president of Venezuela is in my Twitch chat right now. I didn't know he was going to get hit with a cancer gun.
The United Nations to relocate away from New York City. Just an hour ago, he tweeted that he thinks the headquarters of the United Nations should move to Doha in Qatar. Now, at this point, it doesn't seem like Colombia is following up or formally proposing to move the United Nations Net General.
Bro, I don't think we should make the UN that close to Israel. No disrespect to anybody, but kind of feels like if you're in striking distance, especially with like one refueling mission from an F-35 fighter jet, probably not the best place to have all of the global leaders get together, you know? I know there's the played out, why don't you leave in America? But like, no, for real, why don't you go live in a socialist nation? Like, genuinely asking? Great question. Perhaps I will. If you want the real answer, it's because I'm a stubborn motherfucker. Because no matter how stupid people like you exist, no matter how angry dumb fucks like you get, I still want you to get health care. I still want you to fucking make an honest living and be able to purchase a fucking home and be able to have dumb fuck children with your dumb fuck wife without having fears of financial instability. Okay? I want you to shit out as many stupid fucking kids as you possibly can and make sure that those stupid kids get the best possible fucking education so they can be dumb fucks, but also free of the economic hardships that we are all experiencing. That's what I want. I want you to be as hateful and as stupid as you possibly are, but I want you to be free of medical debt that could possibly saddle you for the rest of your life. Says a 34-year-old man. Food. Dog, really? Really? You think that's a own? I take care of my family. Like, between you and I, who do you think is in better financial status right now? Who do you think is having a better time? What the fuck? Yeah, I have a mom who loves me. And it's my dad who's making my shit. I got my shit together and I'm free, buddy. Okay. All right. You say so. Anyway, no matter how stupid you are, no matter how free you feel, for example, I want you to make sure that you actually experience the true freedom, the true liberty of not having to worry about your health care. Okay? Do you disagree? Do you want to continue paying for your health care? Is that what you want to do? Do you want to pay a much lower price for your health care in the form of taxes, much lower than your fucking premiums and much lower than the rest of the coverage when the coverage lapses, the rest of the payments that you have to pay? Because I want that for you. That's what I want for you. No matter how stupid you are. You know what I mean? It's all good. It don't matter to me. You can be stupid. You can be hateful. You can be a real piece of shit. I am firmly committed, okay? I am firmly committed to designing a world where you don't have to worry about healthcare. You don't have to worry about your education. You don't have to worry about, so the true form of freedom is a socialist nation. Oh my God, bro. I'm not even talking about socialism right now. Listen to my words. Do you want government paid healthcare? Do you want free healthcare or not? Do you like paying $600 a month to your healthcare when every other country on the fucking planet is free? How long does it get taken to see how long does it take to get seen by a doctor in Canada? Wait times are comparable in the United States of America, and we get ass fucked with a medical bill. What do you? No, I don't want free healthcare. Okay, well, you're a fucking idiot. He said, no, I don't want free healthcare because other people who are getting paid by the big healthcare industry told me it's scary and bad. Anyway, yeah, the wait times is such a funny fucking line of attack because you got wait times here in America too, dumbass. And even with the paywalled healthcare, which already makes it so that the people who need healthcare don't even fucking get it half the time. And even then, there's still wait time issues. And on top of that, there's the crisis in fucking rural hospital care. You have a San Antonio zip code or you have a San Antonio phone number in your fucking username. How long until you got no motherfucking hospital in your vicinity that you got to get airdropped when you accidentally fucking swallow a hot dog full and it just disrupts your airwaves and no one can help you? You got to go to the hospital. The fuck then? Now you got to pay 30 grand minimum, okay? If not even more than that. America's just like suffering. I know it doesn't matter, but he asked me why I do this, why I stay here, why don't you just like take my money and fucking run, go to a Chacom style country? Because I could just go there, go live in China, I guess. And the reason why is because I care about people. I'm stubborn. I want to fix this country. This country has a lot of fucking promise. It has a lot of potential. That's it. That's why it's always so funny when motherfuckers are like, bro, you hate America. If you don't like it, leave. It's like, dude, trust me. I've thought about it, okay? I have. I'm here out of pure spite, buddy. I am going to give you that fucking free healthcare if it's the last goddamn thing I do. You're going to be kicking and screaming your way to the fucking doctor's office. You're going to be like, oh no, don't give me that free healthcare. I don't want to go to my general practitioner for free for a checkup to make sure I have the most adequate preventative care of all time. How dare you? You Chacom bastard. And I'm going to be like, hell yeah, get that fucking free healthcare, you little bitch. You're going to fucking love it, okay? Oh, that's right. You got diabetes. Turns out you now have insulin shots. Suck my fucking dick, bitch. Yeah. Eat it. What I'm going to do. You can complain to your fucking free mental health therapist, mental health professional about how sad you are.
Assembly to another country, but it shows the fact that Petro has an appetite for a fight and doesn't seem to be intimidated by this latest move from the Trump administration, which comes after a long string of clashes between Washington and Bogota.
Well, so to that point, it's fascinating because the relationship between the U.S. and Colombia seems incredibly tense right now, which feels like a reversal from years of growing ties, certainly pre-Petro, between the two countries. So what's at risk right now if these two leaders can't get along?
Yes, Colombia is historically America's staunchest ally in the region across Latin America. It's a trusted partner, especially in the areas of security. Think that the Colombian military has been involved in several foreign wars led by successive U.S. administrations since at least the 1950s. There was a Colombian foreign
Yeah, against this dude. Yeah, literally against the guy who's now the president. They're like, there were successive collaborative military operations against guerrilla forces in the country. Okay, yeah, he was aligned with those guys. I wonder why. I wonder why that same security collaboration doesn't work any longer.
expeditionary team that went to fight in Korea side by side with the U.S. Marines, and that's where this special relationship has been cemented. Now, Petro comes into power 3 years ago. The first left-wing leader has a troublesome but working relationship with the White House under Biden. Now with Trump, they really seem not to get along. Petro was one of the first leaders to stand up to the new policies from the White House of increased deportation. You might remember back in January, he ordered the temporary suspension of deportation flights. There has been threats of special tariffs on Colombia because of this relationship, which has been damaged. And of course, less than a month ago, the United States decertified the Colombian state in their role on the war on drugs. So clearly, it is a sign that, we are in for a bumpy few months, at least until Petro stays in power, which is until the next summer. He's due to give up his mandate in July 2026, Danny.
Yeah, a lot more to watch in this space, especially as tensions with Venezuela 100%. Continue to increase as well. Stefano, thank you so much for your time. We'll leave it there.
Applause for an impassioned performance led by Israeli conductor Ilan Volkov, then an impassioned plea to end the bloodshed in Gaza.
Israelis, Jews and Palestinians, we are not able to stop.
50 gifted subs to the Hasan Fund, the Piker Broadcasting Service. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The Piker Broadcasting Service is funded by you, the people, for you, the people. And of course, right now you can get 35% off gifted subs, 5+ gifted subs. And not only that, but also Valorante is also gifting additional gifted subs for every 5 gifted subs.
This alone. I ask you, I beg you, all to do whatever is in your power to stop this madness.
When I started this speech in London, my voice was breaking.
We meet Ilan at his home outside Tel Aviv.
I feel like that from inside it's so difficult to do any change now because the society is kind of in a state of shock and trauma and hate and fear, and it feels so difficult to breathe here, So I felt like, it's important to voice, this cry for help, and to try to move people in direction, but also try to move other Israelis so that they...
There you go, bro. There's an Israeli dude literally in England being like, it's very difficult to say these things in Israel. Okay? Israeli society has lost its damn mind. Obviously, there aren't, it's not like the number of people who are like against this genocide who aren't even fucking like anti-Zionist, or the number of anti-Zionists is not zero in Israel. Is not zero. Okay? Of course it's not zero. He should join Hamas, otherwise I don't give a fuck. Oh, shut up, bitch. Oh my God, I hate that. That is the most like, you're an American, dude. You are a fucking American. Okay? there is more that like Israeli society broadly could do. But god damn, bro, come on. See what the fuck you're promoting? Wait, first of all, see what the fuck you're promoting? I'm sorry. I'm saying that that's an unrealistic expectation. I'm not saying that it is not honorable and just and legal under international law to resist against the Israeli occupation. Those three things are still true. It's just irrelevant to the other point that a fucking dumb fuck American is making from the comfort of his home about what an Israeli conductor should be doing. There's more everybody could do, especially people in Israeli society as well. But like, don't fucking be a goddamn American sitting in the comfort of your home being like, why don't you join Hamas right now? Like, calm down. What are you fucking... What are you, like a pro-Israel person? That's what they say. Like,
feel that they can say things that maybe they were silent on.
Are you disappointed with the attitude of people from here, though?
Listen, it's an ongoing place of occupation and apartheid. It's not nothing new. But what happened in the last 2 years is a kind of, I mean, it's an explosion. In the end, my anger is aimed at the top of the pyramid. I have a lot of criticism of other people that are living around me, but I know that it's the top of the pyramid that's actually creating this.
This afternoon, Ilan is heading to an anti-war protest. He's now become part of the small but increasingly vocal left-wing Israeli activist community. Today, they're joining a demonstration in an Arab town in northern Israel. Unlike...
Oh yeah. The state of Israel is not committing a genocide. Take the sign down. By the way, Americans and those living in the fucking comforts of Western Empire, look at your future. This is your future as well. This is our future. Watching this, down to the fucking Israeli band on the chest of an NYPD cop that went and like did a tour of service in Tel Aviv. Down to that. That's your future. Okay? I mean, this is already happening in England. This is already fucking happening in England. In England, it's like, oh, is that say Palestine Action? Well, it's not allowed. It's a prescribed organization. I'll have you fucking know it's fucking illegal. It's fucking illegal, mate. What you think you're doing? 84 years old, pensioner, blind, paraplegic, sick the bobbies on them. It's time to fucking go. I feel like left wing in Israel must be Liz Cheney. No, there are like 8 real anti-Zionists in there. Many of them are in here every day. But like the liberal flank of Israeli society is Liz Cheney, yes. Or sometimes even more vicious, honestly. The anti-Zionists, on the other hand, are more aggressive than anti-Zionists here in America even. That's just how it goes. Sometimes I'll see like anti-Zionist Jews say some shit where I'm like, dude, okay, you're going a little too hard. You know what I mean?
The large Israeli anti-government protests. The focus here is on Palestinian lives. It's peaceful, but police break it up.
See? There you go. There you go. That's what that chatter said. Like he was sitting on the comfort of his home in America. There you go. You have the same perspective as the fucking Israeli cop. Ah, you want to go to Gaza? Go to Gaza. What? No politics here. Israel number one.
How does it make you feel seeing this?
The police are insane. Look, like you have to document this.
A young woman is handcuffed. It's unclear why.
Why are you arresting this?
Why? What do you mean? She's Arab. As why? She's a Palestinian citizen of Israel.
Woman? Why? You think it's funny? You think it's fun? Okay. Why are you pushing?
The aggression is directed at us too.
I guess this gives you an insight into why the protests are small, because as soon as you start saying anything, the police come in very hard. Then they're moving again.
Suddenly, a young man is hauled from his car, pinned to the ground. All this, apparently, for just honking in support of the protest. Police help.
You say NYPD? Well, they do have a branch in Tel Aviv. That's not a joke. I'm not doing like an anti-Semitic trope. They do literally have a branch in Tel Aviv. That's number one. Number two, the IDF, this is the police force, but the IDF has trained every single local law enforcement. They literally, we found out, have a birthright for police. They have a separate birthright trip for police. American police officers can do a different version of birthright to go to Israel. Wait, I thought it was the other way around. No, man. The IDF has trained every fucking local law enforcement after 9/11 for anti-terrorism, for counterterrorism initiatives. Some of the practices that you see every day was literally taught by the IDF. Kettling and corralling, for example. Kettling and corralling. Israeli police are identical to the American police force. Wait, for Jewish cops or only, or any cop? No, dog, not for Jewish cops only, for any cop. What are you talking about? How many Jewish cops do you know? The closest you can get to like a Jewish cop is, what is it called? The Hatzalah or whatever? It's like fucking Jewish EMS. Like American cops who are Jewish. Those are not cops. I know. It's just the Orthodox police force. Like any old pig can just get a trip to Israel? Yes, bro. Yes. Yes. They have something, Shamrim, which is, I think, Neighborhood Watch. Yeah. Hatzalah is EMT, is like a Orthodox EMT. It's Orthodox Emergency Response Services, but you're thinking of Shamrim? Yeah, that's what it is. But no, the cops that they're bringing on police birthright are not Jewish. They're fucking whatever cops usually are, like Irish and Italian and different WASP variants.
Flash grenades dispersing the small crowd.
How do you feel about your country seeing this?
Oh, it's
happening to it.
Listen, I'm ashamed. I'm really ashamed of what's happening. You know, and people that live here, they suffer what's going on way more than me. They have family in Gaza, they have family in the West Bank. It's shameful, you know. You know, we can't stand here and say what we feel, but this is a democracy. What happened here that was dangerous to the state of Israel? This is insanity.